Rebuilding Uganda. Number 6. The need for justice and the rule of law. Today is October 3rd, 2025. Fellow Ugandans, Socrates said that an unexamined life is not worth living. And a quote. There could be no better time than this to introspect individually and collectively as a nation. When a government enacts laws and carries out programs which violate the freedom and the peace of her citizens, it is the solemn duty of those citizens to overthrow it. A government loses its legitimacy when its actions are against the people it is supposed to serve. Let us face it. A nation can survive without diamonds, without oil, even without gold. But no nation can survive without an independent judiciary system. Justice is the guardrail in a country that is guided by laws. Justice is the shield of the weak, the restraint of the powerful, and the hope of the ordinary citizens. Justice and the rule of law keep tyranny out of a nation. It guarantees peace and stability, which are essential prerequisites to building a progressive and a prosperous nation. It is extremely important to know and understand that the rule of law means no one, be it a president, minister, or a general, is above the law. At the same time, no one, be it a rural farmer, street vendor, a border operator, or a child in the village, is outside its protection. That is how a country should be managed, where justice, freedom, and peace prevail. Ugandans seek no less. Uganda needs and must have a government which serves the people. Ugandans have a right and a duty to have a government which is elected by the people through a free and a fair election process. They do not need nor want a government which imposes itself on them through cheating, manipulating the voting system, or military imposition. Neither do they want a government which is void of moral and ethical standards and no integrity. We have suffered more than enough living under the NRM government, which tortures and murders our people by the thousands. This NRM government has consistently embezzled the public funds and plundered national wealth and resources. Thus, people with a singular focus on satisfying their flamboyant lifestyle through exploiting the masses are not the right leaders for Uganda either. What do we see in Uganda today? We see in positions of responsibility an absence of men and women with integrity. We see laws being twisted to benefit exclusively the ruling family and its clansmen. We see the privileged tribesmen from Rwanda grabbing all the wealth and plundering resources of Uganda with impunity. They rob public coffers in broad daylight and blame others for corruption. We see land grabbers with guns and forged land titles evicting indigenous families of their ancestral land. People's houses are set ablaze or demolished, graves being desecrated. Thousands of people in many areas of Buganda, Acholi, Karamoja, Bunyoro, Toro, Busoga, Bukedi, just to mention a few, are left homeless. When the citizens cry out for justice, the courts tactfully delay bringing the criminals to justice because those listeners are untouchable. Remember, justice delayed is justice denied. In many cases, the victimized citizens vanish, never to be seen alive again. In other cases, the judges rule according to the orders from high up. We see opposition voices abducted on flimsy charges, paraded before magistrates, and then kept in prisons perpetually while their accusers are enjoying promotions. We see no corruption cases being brought forward against high-ranking government officials, especially members of Museveni's family, whose record of stealing is public knowledge. The laws that should defend the ordinary citizens are shielding the powerful, yet those are the most notorious thieves in Uganda who have been at it since NRM took power in 1986. It is common to see a simple person caught stealing a chicken being jailed for years, yet a government official who steals millions of dollars is rewarded with promotion, medals, and knighted as honorable. On the other hand, an indigenous Ugandan business person who has worked so hard for his money is imprisoned on fictitious charges of corruption. At the same time, a Tutsi who stole millions from the central bank or foreign-funded development projects or refugee assistance and settlement project is celebrated and promoted. Laws which are supposed to govern public gathering and management of voting procedures are twisted to benefit the regime and its sycophants. You all know that we at Uganda Indigenous Peoples Liberation Organization do not support participating in Museveni's sham elections because that will justify his illegal regime of the Tutsi invaders. One respectable Ugandan commented that the Electoral Commission has already decided who it will announce as a winner, whether we participate in the election or not. Isn't that damn if you do, damn if you don't? As a Ugandan of integrity and self-dignity, why do you bend that law to stain your reputation and dignity, if actually that is what the Electoral Commission is going to do? Why don't you learn from Pontius Pilate, who found no fault in Jesus Christ and refused to go along with those malicious Jews who wanted to kill him? You too can wash your hands and disassociate yourself from the malfeasances of the Electoral Commission and the NRM and its NRM bosses, and stay home. You will never be blamed for abating the destruction of your country. In the meantime, apply your brain power, searching for a solution to your country's problem. This is injustice masquerading as law. When injustice becomes the norm, resistance becomes the duty for every citizen. Justice and judicial independence is a must if we truly want Uganda to develop into a robust, progressive, and enjoyable nation. It is the backbone of democracy. A judge who cannot uphold the rule of law and dispense justice freely is not a judge at all. He is a clerk in a kangaroo court. A court that trembles before the demands of generals is not a court. It is a theater of performers acting like rats plotting against a cat. A law that favors the privileged and the powerful while punishing the powerless and the innocent is not law. That is tyranny. Look around. How many political trials have we seen where the verdict was announced by the powerful before the case began? How many journalists have been exposed? How many journalists have exposed the corrupt officials, have been hounded, abducted, and killed for reporting the truth, while those who loot public funds remain free to continue their lifestyle of looting Uganda? How many families are mourning loved ones who vanished in torture and death dungeons? Yet no one is ever held accountable, even when the hoodlum admits publicly to have kidnapped a person and is keeping him in his basement. Without justice, there cannot be peace. Without peace, there is no progress and development. Investors flee where courts cannot guarantee and defend contracts. Communities will fight when disputes and many legal cases are settled by bribing the police or the court officers. Citizens lose faith in a government when thieves are rewarded and whistleblowers are punished. It is heartbreaking to admit that under the NRM regime, Uganda became a jungle where the strong devour the weak because there is no rule of law. However, with justice, everything changes. With justice, the farmer can plant in confidence, knowing his land and the products are protected. With justice, the trader can invest, knowing merchandise and the contracts will be honored and protected. With justice, students can know that upon completion of their studies and training, they can find employment in their country. With justice, the ordinary Ugandan can live free from fear of losing his or her life or property. So what must we do? We must reinstate and defend a judicial system which is independent at all costs. Judges must uphold the law and serve the people with justice, not according to political orders from above, as is the case under Museveni's regime. Lawyers and judges must stand up boldly to uphold the law and defend justice for all people. They should never bow down to barbarous intimidations. And the people, yes, the people of Uganda, must demand justice and fairness from those in positions of responsibility. Ipso facto, people must hold every public official accountable for his or her actions. It is clear when the judiciary falls, every Ugandan falls. The judiciary has a profound responsibility to stand firm in defense of the rule of law and in dispensing justice in all their deliberations. Justice is not negotiable. Justice is not for sale. Justice is not a favor from the powerful. Rather, it is a right of every person in Uganda. As long as there is breath in our lungs, we must demand and defend it. The question before us is, will we continue to live in a country that has no respect for laws, or will we build a Uganda where the rule of law and justice for all are the guardrails of our country? The choice is ours. The time is now. That is where we stand as Uganda Indigenous Peoples Liberation Organization. We are standing for justice and fairness. Fellow Ugandans, your vote is your power and your sovereignty. The minute you cast that vote to any candidate, you have given away your power. Therefore, participating in Museveni's elections gives him legitimacy in the eyes of the world. Even Mr. Kyagulanyi said a few years ago that, and I quote, participating in Museveni's elections does not make sense. It only helps to perpetuate his dictatorship, end quote. He assured his listeners at that time that he cannot deceive people that he will contest for office when he knows exactly what the Electoral Commission is going to announce. The only way you can display your protest against NRM regime is not to show up at all political rallies and voting stations. Stay home and safeguard your dignity and sovereignty. That is your true power, which you should not squander. If all Ugandans stay home and not participate in Museveni's snake dance games, the world will know that the people of Uganda have totally rejected him. And this is what we have to do. That will be the safe, loudest, and effective protest against a dictator. He will have no one to tear gas, shoot, beat, or kill when all of you remain at home. It will mark the beginning of knocking down NRM's dictatorship brick by brick. Fellow Ugandans, stay home on election day. And I repeat, stay home on election day. Don't be deceived. Let those gullible self-seekers parade themselves as candidates in an election which is determined by Museveni's Electoral Commission. They should have nobody voting for them because you have truly protested by staying home. That is people power in action. And that is the only way you can protest this voting, by not going to the voting stations. Thank you very much for listening, and God bless Uganda.